Way back.
Chair now recognizes Mr. Palmer from Alabama.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Madam Secretary, in response to a question a little while ago about the sale of oil from the Strategic Petroleum Reserve, you said that that was in response to the war in Ukraine. Is that correct?
Yes.
The first sale under the Biden administration occurred in November 2021. Sold 50 million barrels in an attempt to lower gasoline prices. That's 3 months before the war began, so I think you need to reevaluate your answer. By the way, the price of a gallon of gas in December of 2020 was $2.28. December 21, it was $3.41. This according to the Energy Information Administration. December 22, it was $3.32. So the administration sold 50 million barrels plus the additional barrels they sold later, as you say, because of the war in Ukraine, to affect gasoline prices by 9 cents. And by the way, according to EIA, the price of a gallon of regular gasoline right now is $3.73, $1.45 a gallon higher than it was in December 2020. You made a comment while you were in Paris that China's dominance in the world's critical mineral supply chain is one of the pieces of the supply chain that we're very concerned about in the United States. Do you stand by that?
Yes.
I'm very appreciative of that because I agree 100% that China is the existential threat to our economy and to our national security. But what's interesting is the Alabama just rejected a Chinese Communist Party tied EV company's project that would have been located in northwest Alabama near Muscle Shoals that is now being located in Michigan. Did you have any role in the decision to locate that plant in Michigan?
No.
Thank you for the answer, because I think it's interesting that decisions are being made to bring companies in that have direct ties to the Chinese Communist Party to build EV batteries when we are already overly dependent on China for our critical minerals. As a matter of fact, China is responsible for 60% of the worldwide production and 85% of the processing capacity. It's not just a matter of whether or not we mine the minerals here. It's a matter of whether we're able to process them or refine them. And I don't think there's a major rare earth refinery in the Western Hemisphere. So I'm concerned about where we are in critical minerals. I don't think our future's in electric vehicles, not in the short term, definitely. But I do think that this mass transition to renewables is making us even more, it's creating an even greater national security risk because of our dependence on China for critical minerals and rare earths and the processing and refining.
May I respond to that?
Yes, ma'am.
The administration shares your concern, and that's why we've signed into, the President has signed into law and Congress has passed all of these incentives to bring critical minerals extraction, refining, processing, incorporation into the battery in the United States. As I was saying at the very beginning, because of these incentives, our U.S. graphite production, for example, is expected to increase 25-fold by 2030. Our lithium extraction and processing is expected to increase 85-fold. So we want to get those processors here so that we can be
I appreciate
independent.
what you're trying to do there, but the problem with us is the permitting. We need to take an attitude, a position that this is so critical to our national security that we permit some of these mines immediately, and we're not subjecting ourselves to endless litigation on the permitting. We're going to abide by all the environmental rules. But your goals of achieving 100% renewable are not achievable with our dependence on China. Our goals of our national security and the security of our economy are not achievable as long as we have this dependence on China. And we're not going to get there in the mining, the processing, and refining unless we reform our permitting process. Are you willing to participate in that effort?
Yes, absolutely. I agree with you on that. And that's the whole point, is that we want to become independent of China, and bringing all of that here or with allies is so important, the full steps of the supply chain.
Well, I really would encourage the administration to be more sensitive to our positions on energy, critical minerals, rare earths, and on not inviting China to come in and build facilities here that will compromise us. And I do appreciate your responses. It's one of these rare times that you and I have agreed, but I do appreciate that. Mr. Chairman, I yield back.
Gentleman yields back. Chair recognizes Ms. Lee from Pennsylvania.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. As we've heard today, my Republican colleagues would like to use this hearing to bolster this narrative that the Biden administration is enacting a war on energy.